Liam, 2 days before Christmas, it's been done. Mark Jackson has been appointed. Just how you're feeling about the whole process and the appointment.
Yeah, I mean, first thing is probably a bit of relief because these processes are intense. Obviously, time of year kind of adds to that. But with Mark, excitement, real intrigue and belief that we've made the right decision here. I think not just in what he said to us throughout the process, but also the way he's jumped at this. And I'm sure you'll get a feel for how up for it he is, despite our position. There was never any moments of doubt for him. It was always about this opportunity aligns with him, and I believe he's going to give this a real go, and I'm confident he can be a success.
Without huge amounts of detail, because we'd be here too long, but just the process from Liam Manning leaving to this point, and identifying Mark as somebody that could be the head coach here. Were you aware of him before this process started? I'm sure you were, but were you, was he there in the background, in the back of your mind somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, the benefit with Mark is that he was involved last time. Not to the point where we spoke to him, but to the point where we did a lot of the groundwork. And that's the benefit for me personally, having gone through this for the second time round. The first time round it obviously took us by surprise, whereas this time round you can have an element of succession planning to Liam because he was doing really well before obviously we made the change. But there is a difference between succession planning and actively running a process behind a head coach's back, which we would never do. So once we made the decision, it's then about starting the process, and Mark was in our minds, but you have to go through the conversations, and it was comparing him against some other interesting candidates, and then ultimately he was the one we chose.
He ticks a lot of boxes when it comes to the what MK Dons want. Somebody very positive and forward thinking, is happy to play the MK way, and obviously very good at developing young players.
Yeah, well, sure. Look, the last time I stood in front of you and discussed this process, I think there was an element of style that was really important, picking up from where Russ had taken the team. But this time round, I think it flipped, and we were looking for a real leader, somebody with experience, relevant experience, and then the style was still in the mix. So that probably came, third in the list. And Mark's challenge now is to understand there's a vision and an end goal that he wants to get to, and he needs to really work out what are the steps to get us there in the most, sensible way to improve first team performance in the immediate, because that's the most pressing thing. And that's what probably came across most impressive, is that he's aware of that, and he's talking about some of the principles that he'll instill in the team that he thinks we can improve on, really align with the way we see the team. But then beyond that, then he obviously has to fit the end goal, because what we won't do is just appoint somebody short term and then set ourselves up for trouble down the line. With Mark, we've got somebody that I think will address the short term, and then will grow into being a really exciting appointment for the long term too.
When you get reaction to appointments like this, obviously Mark Jackson won't be known by a lot of MK Dons fans. They won't be aware of him, and there'll be that element of it's a bit of a risk, getting an unknown. But how would you respond to that, to the fans? Because they will feel that. They will feel maybe they want a name. Usual procedure when it comes to appointing a manager or a head coach. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, I think, look, one of the benefits of this club, and this stems from the chairman, is opportunity. And I'm an example of that. Russell Martin was an example of that. Liam Manning was. So I think what gives me the confidence to run these processes is that the chairman will give opportunity to young people. And that was really clear as the week went on, and you go into the second week of this process. The chairman was very clear that he was brave enough to give somebody that opportunity, which opened up the type of candidates then for us to discuss people like Mark. And the chairman has a view that if he said to me, if there's somebody out there that will become a manager in the future, then we're brave enough to give them the first opportunity, and that's something that stands this club out ahead of our rivals. It's the same with players, and we've got to be brave enough not to move away from that when we are close enough to and strong enough to get out of this situation.
And obviously getting out of the situation is the immediate aim, the short-term aim, but obviously when you're appointing somebody, there's a long-term aim as well, and that long-term aim is to get to the championship. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely, the vision of the club is to be a competitive championship club. We haven't come away from that. We've just look, I have to repeat these things, but we went through a lot of change in the summer where you signed 14 players. Now, when you And funnily enough, I recall talking to you a year ago, January, when you said to me, are you aware that the recruitment is as good as it's ever been? And my reply to you was, well, yes, but I don't expect this to always be the case, because it's a challenging process, and there's nobody in football that has a 100% record. It is a challenging process. So, and when you open it up to do 14, then that's when you increase the chances of it going wrong. What we've tried to do is protect against that kind of change in the future. But what we now need to do in January is refine it, add further balance, add types of profiles that we haven't got, which we're aligned with Mark, and hopefully we'll do that and have a much more successful second half of the season.
It's really interesting you talked about our last conversation regarding this, because a lot has changed for you personally. It must have been quite a difficult time, because at the time that I spoke to you, you were the second coming. To be totally honest with you, you were being hailed as a messiah, and rightfully so. Some of the appointments were superb. You have come in for a little bit of stick, Liam. To be fair, how have you responded to that personally? Has it been a difficult time for you?
I think absolutely it's been difficult, because the results and what we've seen on the pitch isn't the standards that we set ourselves. So I'm aware of that. I think, like I said, the balance we got wrong. I'm happy to stand here and say that. What we need to do is add physicality to the team, and I think Mark's aligned on that. I still believe in the players that we've got, and I don't regret signing any of them. It's just getting the balance right. But some of these guys joined us on long-term contracts for transfer fees. They're going to be the future of the club, and they're going to get better. Everything we measure tells me that. It's just helping, as I said, the balance and the physicality of the team in the short term. So, yeah, look, I'm in a privileged position to lead a really progressive, modern football club. So if there's people out there that criticise me in the short term, I'm fine with that, and it just gives me fire to get it right in the future.
Nice that he's got very little time before he meets the fans in a home game. I think that's a real bonus for Mark, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And look, it puts a bit of even more, I guess, on the Boxing Day game at a time of year when we all love to watch football, and the ballroom's going to be open for the fans and things like that. So hopefully it'll be a bit of a special day, Mark's first home game. We got to remember that the prize is the same, and then we play them again not too long after. So it's about putting a run together now. Portsmouth was the start of it, and if we can do back-to-back wins, it'd be terrific. But really, a real run to get us away from this position is what we're searching for.
At least you won't be taking so many. You might be taking a few with regards to transfers, but you won't be taking so many calls on Christmas Day.
You'll be amazed how often, at least internally, we're chatting about things. But I've got some Christmas shopping to do. That's my priority. I was hoping not to leave it this late, but that's what I've got to do tomorrow. And then obviously the players are in Christmas Day. They'll be training. We look forward to the game.